There was a time when a car wouldn't tell you what was wrong. It expected you to listen, feel, smell, and understand. No warning lights, no scanners. Just experience, intuition, and greasy hands. Old mechanics weren't just repairmen. They were interpreters between metal and motion. A faint tick, a rough idle, a whiff of raw fuel. Every clue meant something. Today, dashboards do the thinking, and most drivers only react when a light screams for help. But these old rituals kept cars alive longer than people realize, and they kept drivers connected. Stick with me, because the fourth one reveals pure mechanical precision, a skill that defined great mechanics and vanished from modern driving. Number 1. Tuning fire by hand. Back in the day, ignition timing wasn't a computer decision. It was a human skill. Mechanics would pop the distributor cap, set the ignition points, and gap them with a feeler gauge, as if tuning a musical instrument. Then they'd check spark plug gaps too, because a tiny difference could make an engine run sharp, lazy, or downright miserable. And here's the thing. Those mechanical ignition systems wore down constantly. The rubbing block would wear, the gap would drift, the timing would change, and suddenly you'd get misfires, hard starts, weak power, and fuel economy that dropped for no obvious reason. A millimeter off wasn't close enough. It was the difference between an engine that felt crisp and one that felt tired. That's why old mechanics understood combustion in a way most drivers don't today. The engine is a controlled explosion, and precision decides whether that explosion is clean and strong, or messy, inefficient, and destructive. They learned how timing affected throttle response, engine heat, detonation, and long-term wear, because they could feel the results immediately from the driver's seat. Now we've got electronic ignition, ECU-controlled timing, knock sensors, and long-life spark plugs that can run for years without adjustment. That's convenient, no doubt, but something important was lost along the way. Drivers stopped learning how spark, fuel, and timing work together. Mechanics stopped tuning engines and started replacing parts. Reality? The engine still reacts the same way. It just hides its warnings better now. And once you knew how to tune spark by hand, you also learned a cold start ritual that could make or break your morning. But it wasn't done with a key or a sensor. Number 2, choking the engine awake. If you drove a carbureted car, cold starts were a little like waking up an old dog. You had to know how to do it. That's where the manual choke came in. Old school drivers didn't just turn the key and wait. They pulled the choke to enrich the fuel mixture because cold fuel doesn't vaporize well, and a cold engine wants extra help to stay running. Too little choke? The engine would stumble, cough, stall at stop signs, and make you look like you didn't know how to drive. Too much choke? You'd flood it. Raw fuel, strong smell, and a crank no start that could ruin your whole morning. The skill was reading engine behavior in real time. You'd feel the idle smooth out, hear the RPM settle, then gradually push the choke back as the engine warmed. It made drivers more in tune, because you were literally managing the engine's breathing and appetite while it came to life. Modern cars replace that whole dance with automatic choke, fuel injection, and sensors that instantly adjust the air-fuel mixture. You get convenience, but you lose awareness, especially when something subtle starts going off during startup. Many people today have never learned what rich versus lean even feels like. And speaking of things you could feel, old mechanics didn't just prevent engine problems. They prevented suspension and steering wear with something modern. Number 3, grease was life. Old mechanics treated grease like medicine, because back then, the chassis needed it. Ball joints, tie rod ends, steering linkages, and suspension pivot points often had grease fittings, and you'd see guys with a grease gun doing regular chassis lube like it was an oil change. Why? Because metal-on-metal contact was common, and without fresh grease, those moving parts would grind themselves down. The first signs weren't dramatic failures, more like stiff steering, squeaks over bumps, looseness in the front end, and that vague, wandering feeling on the highway. Ignore it long enough, and you'd be buying parts instead of maintaining them. This wasn't just about quieting noises. Lubrication was prevention. It reduced friction, pushed out water, and slowed wear at the points where movement and load meet. The old mindset was simple. If it moves, it needs protection. Modern vehicles shifted towards sealed-for-life components, synthetic liners, and parts designed to last without routine greasing. And yes, many of those designs do last a long time, but the habit disappeared with them. A lot of drivers today don't even realize how quickly suspension wear snowballs once friction starts winning. They wait until something clunks, then act shocked by the repair bill. Thanks for sticking with me. Most drivers never learned these old-school habits, so you're already ahead. This is the kind of knowledge that kept cars running longer with fewer repairs. If this helps, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next forgotten skill. It reveals what modern driving convenience quietly took away. Number 4, the gearbox dance. Double clutching wasn't a cool trick. It was survival for older transmissions. Early manual gearboxes often lacked synchronizers, which meant the transmission couldn't automatically match gear speeds for smooth shifts. So drivers did it themselves. Clutch in, shift to neutral, clutch out, blip the throttle to match engine speed, clutch in again, then slide into the next gear. Done right, it felt smooth, like the gears agreed with you. Done wrong, it felt like grinding a file against metal, and that sound was literally your transmission being abused. Old drivers learned mechanical empathy. They could feel when a gear didn't want to engage yet. They could sense RPM, and they understood that the drivetrain isn't just a lever and pedals. It's rotating parts with momentum. Double clutching was about respecting that momentum and working with it. It reduced wear, prevented gear damage, and made the car feel more controlled, especially when downshifting for hills or slowing without riding the brakes. Today, synchromesh gearboxes and automatics do the matching for you, and modern drivers rarely build that sense of rhythm. The result? People treat shifting like an on/off switch. Even in automatics, you still see the same mindset, slamming from drive to reverse too quickly, or relying on the transmission to figure it out under stress. Now let's move from drivetrain damage to something quieter, but just as deadly: the tiny paint chip that used to get fixed immediately. Because old mechanics knew rust doesn't ask for permission. Number 5, sealing-saved steel. Old-timers didn't ignore paint chips. If a rock nicked the hood or a door edge got scratched, it wasn't cosmetic. It was a countdown. Older paints and body protection weren't as corrosion-resistant, and once bare metal was exposed, moisture and oxygen went to work fast. Especially in wet climates or salty roads, a tiny chip could turn into bubbling paint, then a rusty scab, and eventually a hole you could push a finger through. That's why owners use touch-up paint as if it were part of normal maintenance. This habit saved cars. Not because the touch-up looked perfect, half the time it didn't, but because it sealed exposed metal before rust could spread under the paint like a silent infection. Old mechanics understood that rust doesn't stay in one spot. It creeps, it expands, it weakens panels, brackets, and mounting points over time. And once rust gets into seams and edges, stopping it becomes expensive and frustrating. Modern cars have better clear coats, galvanized steel, and improved rust-resistant treatments. So, people got comfortable, and comfort created neglect. Drivers today often wait until rust is visible from 10 feet away, which is usually when the damage is already serious. Prevention became optional, and the cost of that mindset shows up years later when the car looks fine, except where it matters most. And rust didn't just attack body panels, it also loved the underside. Which brings us to a part many drivers assume lasts forever, but old mechanics treated it like a regular wear item. Number 6, exhausts were consumables, not lifetime parts. Talk to any old mechanic and they'll say it without hesitation. Exhausts were never meant to last forever. Back then, pipes and mufflers were made from thin steel and they lived a hard life. Every drive heated them up, every shutdown let them cool, and in between they filled with condensation. That moisture mixed with acidic exhaust gases and slowly ate the system from the inside. Add rainwater, road grime, and winter salt, and it wasn't unusual to hear a rattle or spot a leak after just a few years. Because of that, people treated exhaust work like routine maintenance. You didn't panic. You patched a leak, replaced a section, swapped a muffler, or welded a hanger and kept driving. And that mindset mattered, because an exhaust problem isn't just about noise. A leak can rob power, throw off fuel mixture on some engines, and in the worst cases, let fumes creep into the cabin. Old mechanics caught these issues early because they listened, looked underneath, and never assumed a strange sound would fix itself. Today's exhausts last longer thanks to stainless steel and better coatings. But what we lost was awareness. Heat and corrosion still destroy parts quietly. Most drivers ignore rattles and rusty flanges until a small, cheap fix becomes a full system replacement. And if you think that kind of hands-on awareness is impressive, the next forgotten skill takes it even further, because it wasn't about replacing parts at all, but feeding the engine by hand, like dialing in a perfect recipe. Number 7. The art of fuel mixing. Carburetors were mechanical fuel computers, and they demanded attention. Old mechanics would tear them down, clean jets, check floats, and adjust mixtures because a carb doesn't self-correct. If fuel quality was bad, dirt got into passages, or the float level drifted, the engine would tell on itself fast. Hesitation off the line, rough idle black smoke, poor mileage, stalling at stoplights, or that annoying flat spot when you stepped on the gas. And here's what made carb work an art. Small changes mattered. A turn of a screw could smooth an idle or ruin it. A clogged jet could make the car feel weak like it lost half its horsepower. A float set wrong could flood the engine or starve it under load. Old mechanics didn't guess. They observed symptoms and responded with careful adjustments. They understood the engine breathes and eats, and if you feed it wrong, it won't run right. Fuel injection replaced this with sensors and computers that adjust thousands of times per second. That's a huge upgrade for reliability and emissions, but it also changed how drivers think. Many people today don't realize how sensitive engines are to fuel delivery until a modern issue happens. Dirty injectors, vacuum leaks, weak fuel pumps, and suddenly they're lost because there's no visible mixture screw to turn. Glad you're still here. Most people never pick up these forgotten mechanic habits, so you're already thinking differently. This kind of know-how kept engines smooth long before computers took over. If you're getting value from this, tap like, subscribe, and leave a comment. What's coming next shows how problems were spotted before warning lights ever existed. Number 8. Hearing meant diagnosis. Old mechanics didn't need a screen to tell them something was wrong. They listened like doctors with a stethoscope. A tick could mean a valve train issue. A deep knock could hint at bottom-end trouble. A whistle might suggest a vacuum leak. A hiss could point to an exhaust leak or a cracked hose. Even the rhythm mattered. Smooth, uneven, hunting, stumbling. Each pattern told a story. This skill mattered because sound was often the first and only warning. Cars didn't throw codes. They didn't flash warnings. The engine simply changed its voice. And good mechanics trained their ears over years, matching noises to causes and catching problems early. That ability saved customers from catastrophic failures because they didn't wait for proof. They acted on signals. Modern diagnostics are powerful. OBD scanners, sensors, and error codes make troubleshooting faster and more accurate. But there's a downside. People stop paying attention until a light comes on. And sometimes the light comes on late, or not at all. You can have worn components, small leaks, weak fuel pressure, or early bearing noise long before a computer decides it's bad enough to warn you. Now let's talk about a habit that modern drivers argue about non-stop, but old mechanics did it for a very practical reason, especially on cold mornings. Number 9. Warming was protection and longevity. Old school drivers warmed engines up, and it wasn't superstition. It was how engines worked. With carburetors, cold starts meant poor fuel vaporization. The mixture could be unstable, idle could be rough, and drivability could be miserable until heat built up. On top of that, older oils were thicker when cold and took longer to flow everywhere it needed to. So a short warm-up wasn't about babying the car. It was about letting it run cleanly and lubricate properly before load and RPM increased. What changed is the technology. Modern fuel injection adjusts instantly. Modern oils flow better in cold temps. Engines are built with tighter tolerances and smarter controls, so you don't need a long idle session like the old days. But, and this is where people get it wrong, no long warm-up doesn't mean start and immediately floor it. The smarter modern habit is gentle driving for the first few minutes. Let the oil circulate, let temperatures stabilize, and avoid heavy throttle until the engine is closer to operating range. Old mechanics understood temperature like a survival rule. Cold metal and cold oil don't protect like warm, flowing lubrication. That mindset still matters, even if the method changed. If you want longevity, you don't shock a cold engine with high load. especially on high-mileage vehicles. And while we're on prevention, old mechanics didn't trust dashboards to tell them anything. They trusted their hands and eyes, because waiting for a light was often too late. Number 10. Hands-checked fluids. Old mechanics checked fluids as if it were non-negotiable. Oil dipstick, coolant level, brake fluid, transmission fluid, power steering. They didn't wait for warnings because in many cars, warnings didn't exist. And even when they did, they often came on late, when damage had already started. That habit prevented disasters. Low oil can starve bearings. Low coolant can overheat an engine fast. Old brake fluid can absorb moisture, reducing braking performance when it gets hot. Transmission fluid that's low or burnt can turn a smooth gearbox into a slipping money pit. The hand check wasn't just maintenance, it was early detection. You spotted a slow leak before it became a tow truck situation. Modern cars added sensors and warning systems, and that's helped a lot. But sensors don't replace awareness. Some systems only monitor pressure, not level. Some will warn after a threshold is crossed, and some issues, like slow coolant loss, can happen without a dramatic warning until the engine is already running hot. The old mindset was, you own the car, so you verify the basics. That's still one of the cheapest ways to extend a car's life, especially for drivers who keep vehicles long-term. And the final old-school skill might be my favorite, because it was like reading the engine's diary. One look at this part told you if the engine was healthy or hiding a problem. Number 11. Spark plugs were read like report cards. Old mechanics pulled spark plugs and read them like a report card, because plugs didn't just spark, they revealed what was happening inside the cylinder. A light tan or grayish tip usually meant things were close to normal. Sooty black deposits could suggest running rich or weak ignition. Oily deposits could hint at oil consumption. Chalky white or blistered tips might point to overheating or a lean condition. And when you compared plugs across cylinders, you could spot patterns, one cylinder acting different from the others, which often meant a specific problem, not a random one. This gave clues without expensive equipment. You didn't need a scan tool to suspect mixture issues or oil burning. You could literally see evidence. It pushed mechanics to think in cause and effect: fuel, air, spark, compression, heat. And once you learned it, you understood engines better than any dashboard warning could teach you. Modern engines hide more of this behind sensors and long-life plugs that don't come out for a long time. That's great for convenience, but it also means many owners miss early signs until the problem gets big. The lesson isn't that everyone should constantly pull plugs. It's that engines always leave clues, and the people who look for clues spend less money over time. So what did progress really change? It didn't just remove tasks. It changed how connected drivers feel to their own machines. And that's the real takeaway. Old mechanics didn't just fix cars, they understood them. Modern vehicles are smarter, cleaner, and more reliable, but they've also turned many drivers into passengers in their own machines. If this brought back memories or taught you something new, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment telling us which old-school habit surprised you most. And if you want more proven, no-nonsense hacks that can make your engine run like new, be sure to check out the next video. I'll link it right here.